Most men make the same mistake. They focus on appearance because it feels safe, predictable, and easy. Saying you look beautiful requires no effort, no depth, and no awareness. And that's exactly why it rarely creates real attraction. A woman hears compliments about her looks all the time. It becomes background noise. It doesn't stand out, and more importantly, it doesn't connect. When you only acknowledge the surface, you position yourself like everyone else, replaceable, forgettable, and easy to ignore. But the moment you shift your focus from what she looks like to how she thinks, how she expresses herself, or how she sees the world, something changes instantly. You step into a different category of man, one who observes, one who listens, one who understands. Emotional connection is powerful because it touches identity. A person's thoughts, values, and perspectives are deeply personal. When you recognize that, you're not just giving a compliment, you're validating something meaningful. And that validation creates a spark that goes beyond attraction. It builds intrigue and trust at the same time. It shows that you're not distracted by the obvious. You're tuned into what actually matters. That alone separates you from the majority. There's also confidence hidden in this approach. When you avoid overused compliments and instead speak with intention, it shows that you don't need approval. You're not trying to win her over with flattery. You're expressing what genuinely stands out to you. That authenticity carries weight. It feels real. And people are naturally drawn to what feels real in a world full of repetition and surface-level interactions. When a woman feels emotionally seen, she becomes more engaged. She starts to open up, to share more, to invest in the interaction. Not because you forced it, but because you created an environment where she feels understood. And that's rare. That's powerful. That's the difference between a conversation she forgets in minutes and one she thinks about long after it ends. Curiosity is one of the strongest psychological triggers in human behavior, and when used correctly, it becomes a powerful force in attraction. Most conversations are predictable: questions, answers, polite reactions, and then silence. There's no tension, no spark, nothing that pulls someone deeper into the interaction. But the moment you introduce mystery, everything shifts. When you say something like, "You're different in a good way," you create an open loop in her mind. It's incomplete, and the human brain naturally seeks completion. She begins to wonder what you mean, what you noticed, and why you said it. That curiosity pulls her in without you needing to chase. What makes this so effective is that it activates her imagination. Instead of you trying to prove your value, she starts building value around your words. She starts analyzing the interaction, replaying it, trying to understand your perspective. And in doing so, she becomes emotionally involved. That involvement is what most people fail to create. They try to impress directly, but direct effort often feels forced. Mystery, on the other hand, feels natural and intriguing. There's also a subtle confidence behind creating curiosity. You're not over-explaining yourself. You're not seeking approval by justifying your statement. You're comfortable leaving space in the conversation. That space is powerful because it shows emotional control. It shows that you're not afraid of silence, not afraid of tension, and not desperate to fill every moment with words. That calm presence is attractive on a deeper level. At the same time, mystery should never feel confusing or manipulative. It's not about playing games or hiding your intentions completely. It's about revealing just enough to spark interest while holding back enough to keep her engaged. When done right, it feels effortless, not calculated. It feels like you're naturally observant rather than strategically mysterious. As curiosity builds, she begins to invest more energy into the interaction. She asks questions, she leans in, she becomes more attentive. And now the dynamic has shifted. You're no longer the one trying to gain attention. She is participating, contributing, and emotionally engaging. That's when attraction starts to grow on its own, driven not by pressure or persuasion, but by the natural desire to understand something that feels different, unexpected, and intriguing. Confidence is rarely about what you say. It's about how your words land. Two people can say the exact same sentence, but one feels powerful and the other feels empty. The difference is not the vocabulary, it's the certainty behind it. Tone, pacing, eye contact, and emotional control all communicate far more than the actual words. When your voice is steady, your delivery is relaxed, and your presence is grounded, Even simple statements carry weight. They feel intentional. They feel real. And that's what people respond to on a deeper level. Most people underestimate how quickly others pick up on insecurity. If your tone is rushed, if you over-explain, or if your voice seeks validation, it sends a clear signal that you're unsure of yourself. That uncertainty breaks attraction instantly because it shifts the dynamic. You're no longer expressing, you're asking for approval. And approval-seeking energy is felt immediately, even if nothing obvious is said. On the other hand, when your tone is calm and composed, it shows that you're comfortable with yourself. You're not trying to impress. You're simply sharing your perspective. That subtle shift creates a completely different emotional response. There's also strength in silence and pacing. Speaking slower, allowing pauses, and not rushing to fill every gap shows control. It shows that you're not nervous about how your words will be received. You're giving your words space to breathe, which naturally makes them feel more important. People lean in when they sense that level of calm confidence because it's rare. Most conversations are filled with noise and urgency, but a controlled tone cuts through that instantly. Another important factor is emotional consistency. When your tone matches your intention, it creates trust. If you say something meaningful but your tone is hesitant, the message becomes unclear. But when your tone aligns with your words, steady, certain, and relaxed, it reinforces everything you're saying. It makes your presence feel authentic rather than performative. Over time, this kind of delivery builds a strong impression. It signals that you are grounded, self-aware, and emotionally in control. And those qualities naturally draw people in because they create a sense of stability and strength that goes far beyond surface-level conversation. Most interactions stay on the surface because people are conditioned to notice what's obvious and ignore what actually matters. Compliments about appearance, style, or external traits dominate conversations because they're easy and require no real attention. But when you shift your focus towards someone's personality, something deeper begins to form. Appreciating how someone thinks, how they express themselves, or how they carry their values sends a completely different message. It shows that you're not just reacting, you're observing. And being truly seen is something people rarely experience. When you acknowledge personality, you connect with identity. Identity is where emotions live, where self-worth is built, and where meaningful attraction begins. A woman may hear that she looks good countless times, but hearing that her perspective is interesting, that her mindset stands out, or that her way of expressing herself is unique creates a different kind of impact. It tells her that you're paying attention beyond the surface, that you value substance over appearance. That alone creates depth in the interaction. This kind of appreciation also builds trust naturally. Surface-level compliments can sometimes feel transactional, as if they're being used to get something in return. But when you recognize something deeper, it feels genuine. It doesn't come across as an attempt to impress. It feels like a reflection of what you truly notice. And authenticity is one of the strongest foundations for any connection. People are drawn to those who make them feel understood without forcing it. There's also a level of emotional intelligence involved in this approach. You're not just reacting to what's presented, you're interpreting it. You're picking up on subtle cues, the way she communicates, the way she reacts, the way she carries herself in different situations. That awareness makes your words more meaningful because they're rooted in observation, not assumption. And when someone feels that level of attention, they naturally become more engaged. As the interaction deepens, the dynamic shifts. It's no longer about trying to impress or gain approval. It becomes a shared experience where both people feel seen and valued. That kind of connection stands out because it's rare. It's not driven by surface attraction alone, but by a deeper sense of understanding that continues to grow as the interaction evolves. Neediness is one of the fastest ways to weaken attraction, even when the words themselves seem right. It's not always obvious, but it shows up in subtle ways. Seeking constant validation, over-explaining, trying too hard to impress, or adjusting your behavior just to be liked. This kind of energy shifts the balance instantly. Instead of expressing yourself, you begin performing. And performance creates pressure, not connection. People can feel when someone is trying to win them over. and it often creates distance rather than interest. Non-needy communication works differently. It comes from a place of self-assurance, where you're not dependent on the outcome of the interaction. You're not speaking to gain approval. You're speaking because you have something genuine to express. That difference changes everything. Your words feel lighter, more natural, and more confident because they're not carrying hidden expectations. There's no pressure behind them, and that absence of pressure makes others feel more comfortable and more open. One of the key elements here is emotional independence. When you're not overly invested in how someone responds, you remain calm and grounded. You don't rush to fill silence, you don't overreact to small changes, and you don't chase attention. That stability is attractive because it signals strength. It shows that your sense of self isn't easily shaken and that you value your own time and energy. People are naturally drawn to those who don't feel desperate for connection but are open to it. Non-needy communication also creates space. Instead of overwhelming the interaction with constant effort, you allow moments to unfold naturally. You listen more, you observe more, and when you speak, it carries more weight because it's intentional. This balance makes conversations feel effortless rather than forced. It allows both people to participate without pressure, which leads to a more genuine and relaxed connection. Over time, this approach builds a stronger dynamic. Instead of trying to prove your value, you demonstrate it through your behavior. You show that you're comfortable in your own space, that you don't need constant reassurance, and that you're capable of enjoying the interaction without controlling it. That kind of presence creates a subtle but powerful attraction, one that grows not from effort, but from the quiet confidence of knowing you don't need to chase what naturally aligns with you. Energy is something people feel before they fully understand it. It's not visible, yet it shapes every interaction. You can say all the right words, follow every rule, and still fail to create attraction if your energy feels off. On the other hand, someone with strong presence can say very little and still leave a lasting impression. That's because energy communicates your emotional state in real time. It reveals whether you're confident or uncertain, relaxed or tense, grounded or seeking approval. And people respond to that instinctively, often without even realizing it. Presence is what anchors that energy. It's your ability to be fully engaged in the moment without distraction or overthinking. When you're present, you're not trying to predict the outcome, impress, or control the interaction. You're simply there, aware, attentive, and calm. That kind of focus makes the other person feel valued because your attention isn't scattered. In a world where most conversations are filled with distraction, real presence stands out immediately. There's also a sense of emotional stability that comes with strong presence. Your reactions are measured, your expressions are natural, and your behavior is consistent. You're not easily thrown off by small changes in tone or response. That stability creates a feeling of safety and trust, which are essential for deeper attraction. People are drawn to those who feel grounded because it allows them to relax and be themselves without pressure. Another important aspect is how you carry silence. Many people fear quiet moments and rush to fill them, which often creates awkwardness. But when your energy is calm and your presence is steady, silence doesn't feel uncomfortable. It feels intentional. It gives space for emotions to develop and for the interaction to breathe. That level of comfort with silence signals confidence because it shows you're not dependent on constant stimulation to maintain connection. Over time, your energy becomes your signature. It's what people remember long after the conversation ends. They may not recall every word you said, but they'll remember how they felt around you, whether it was ease, curiosity, excitement, or calm. And that feeling becomes the foundation of attraction, growing stronger not through effort or strategy, but through the consistent experience of being around someone who is fully present and emotionally aligned.